Hello and welcome to another episode of Geared Toward Gear. My name's Sean and I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to take a look at the Leatherman Free. So this is a brand newly released multi-tool from Leatherman. Really a series of tools, I guess, that was announced. Was it SHOT Show or Blade Show? One of the two. Earlier this year they announced this series of multi-tools. May have been the end of last year, I don't recall. But they've been highly anticipated and they just dropped very recently. And I bought one directly from Leatherman's website within minutes after they were released. And I got it in the mail today. Today is Wednesday, April 24th. So you'll probably see this video on Thursday, April 25th, I would imagine. But here's the box. Inside the larger cardboard box it shipped in came a Leatherman decal, which is kind of cool. And then here's just another Leatherman multi-tool that we'll use to compare the sheath and the size a little later on. My 2-year-old son tried to get into this box a couple of times and was almost successful. I didn't want to spoil it. I wanted to open it on camera and kind of give you my first impressions and see it for the first time together. So without further ado, let's get in the box and see what we got going on. So looks like some pictures on the back here, just kind of telling you a little bit about the multi-tool. Some additional information on the side here. Made in the USA, as they all are. And it looks like we can just rip into it from the top here. And I'm guessing we'll see the multi-tool here in all of its glory. Okay. That was anticlimactic. I was thinking we'd see the tool right away. So on top, I'm assuming the tool is directly below this, but it looks like a little cardboard, a sheet here that's got some information on, it says thanks for buying your Leatherman. Talks about how to use it, gives you a little information about the magnetic architecture, I would imagine. I'll read through this later, but that's just some literature, and I'm assuming we can now do the reveal. Dun, da, da, da. All right, there it is. The Leatherman Free model P2. So first of all, I do like the color of the sheath. I'm not a big sheath guy. I don't wear belt sheaths. Never have. I've never carried anything on my belt in a sheath in my life. Well, I take that back. Maybe when I'm out hunting, but for the most part, I don't carry anything on my belt. I carry things in my pocket, so I probably won't use this. However, I do like the color. It looks nice. I'm sure it's perfectly functional and decent quality. Leatherman makes decent sheaths, so there's that. And I'm noticing that the Leatherman logo here is like a PVC material, kind of like that rubberized PVC, as opposed to like their older style that's just a piece of fabric sewn on. So a little nicer touch there, and I understand that all of the Leatherman Free series tools will have this same gray colored sheath, and that'll kind of be their trademark. So it's cool that it does come with a sheath. Again, I probably won't use it, but there it is. So here is the tool. It should have a pocket clip if I remember correctly. I hope it does. And it does. Is there anything else in there? Nope. All right, so here it is, the Leatherman Free model P2. So I went with the P2 specifically really for two reasons. One, it's lighter in weight, and I tend to prefer lightweight items. And the second reason is the additional implements that come on the P4 are ones that I just don't tend to use. It comes with a second blade, I believe, and a full-size file. And those just aren't tools that I tend to use in an EDC capacity when I do carry a multi-tool, so I opted for the P2 to save a little bit of weight. This thing comes in at 7.6 ounces. It's definitely chunky. For somebody like myself who doesn't typically carry a full-size multi-tool, it definitely feels heavy. And now that I have it in my hand, I'm almost thinking I may need to give this sheath a try, because clipped to my pocket, I feel like this would just be too heavy. But we'll see. The pocket clip does look really nice, though. Pretty stout, pretty thick, kind of a loop over design. Feels nice and strong. So yeah, no complaints about the clip. I'm sure it will carry well. The P4 model, the larger model that has the additional tools, comes with the mounting location for a pocket clip, but does not come with a pocket clip. So if you opt for the P4, you will not get a pocket clip. You have to pay extra for that, which I think is pretty dumb. But fortunately, the P2 does come with it, so that's good. Pretty slick. As far as texture goes, not a whole lot of texture. There's kind of like some dimpling in the handle scales. But overall, relatively slick, but not a huge issue. So the whole kind of claim to fame here, whether you think it's a gimmick or what, is that it's all magnetic architecture. And I am the type of person that really appreciates engineering and mechanisms and things like that. So when I saw this, I was interested for that reason, first and foremost, just because I thought it was a really good design and a good idea. Whether or not it's executed well is another question, and we'll find out, and I'll find out over time. But let's go ahead and, before we get into the tool set, let's try to open it one-handed and kind of do the butterfly thing that you've seen probably on some other videos. If I can figure out which side it opens on. Okay, so it opens on that side. So from what I know from watching videos, if I pinch here, this should break the magnet, which it does. And I'm expecting this to be a little stiff because it's brand new, but we'll see. So here we go. Okay, that was not stiff at all. That was actually really smooth. So that was very easy to open one-handed. Although I'm noticing as I look down that some of the tools look like they've kind of come unseated here. So I'm not sure what that's about. So let's do that one more time. So pinch, and we're good to go, except those tools keep still coming undone. So yeah, very easy to open one-handed. Let's try closing. It's pretty intuitive. Having had this in my hand now for probably 5 minutes, the opening and closing one-handed is quite intuitive. Doesn't take much of a learning curve, so that's good. Yeah, the action feels good. The magnet here that holds kind of the main two halves together feels like it's plenty strong, like it's not gonna wiggle itself open. So yeah, I'm digging the one-handed operation to get into the pliers. Speaking of which, Leatherman says these are their most powerful, their strongest pliers that they've ever made, and they've tested these and they're just, for whatever reason, I'm not sure the science behind it, but they say these are the most robust pliers they've ever built. So that is what it is. I'll take them at their word. It's got your standard needle nose here at the end, then your kind of more standard plier. It's got a normal wire cutter, a thicker gauge wire cutter, and then here is actually a crimper. So if you do any electrical work, you can crimp with this as well. So that's kind of what you get on the inside of the tool, is just your pliers, your wire cutters, and your crimper. Everything else is accessed from the outside of the tool when it's in its closed position. So let's close it again. Do that one-handed. Not too difficult to do. So let's look at the tool set. So to get into here, it should just kind of be the roll of a thumb, either pushing up or kind of rolling your thumb this way. So we'll give that a shot and see how these come out. Okay. Okay, so they came out. Something was very uncomfortable just then. I'm not sure what it was, but we'll have to figure that out. I think I might know. So let's look at the tool set first. So on one side, you're going to get a file, which is also a kind of medium-sized flat-bladed screwdriver. You're going to get a large-size flat-bladed screwdriver, which I think has measurements on the other side. Yeah, it's got some measurements on the opposite side. Then you have a very small flat-bladed screwdriver that also doubles as an awl, AWL, and a cap lifter, bottle opener, can opener kind of combo thing here. So decent tools. The one complaint I have right off the bat, and I kind of knew this going into it from looking at the tool online and seeing some videos, is I've never personally seen an awl that's not pointy on the end. So this has a screwdriver tip on the end. It feels like it's definitely got some sharpness to it being so small, but I don't know how well that would function as an awl. So that might not be super functional, but I'll definitely test it out. It looks like it might ream pretty well because it does have a kind of a bevel, almost like a knife would, a little beveled edge there. So it could work. We'll see. Each tool should lock in place. So we'll try the file here. So it does lock, and I'm guessing it's going to push that way. So disengage the lock and close it. So that's super easy. On this side, we've got a Phillips drive, which is 3D, so it's cut on both sides, which is nice. It should get a better purchase on your Phillips drive screws. Also doubles as a bottle opener, and that of course locks as well. Disengage it one-handed. And then the other tool is, and I'm using my thumbnail only because this is actually not very comfortable to kind of roll your thumb this way. But the other tool is a kind of combination package opener, scraper, pry tool, screwdriver. I don't know what they call this. I probably should have looked it up beforehand, but it's kind of a multi-function tool there. So that is that. And that's it for the tool set on the outside. Then you've got your two main implements, which is a blade, which is a little stiff. And this is 420 high carbon steel. It's a partially serrated blade, as you can see, and it's 2.75 inches in length. I would have liked to see a little better steel, maybe like 154 cm. You know, on a new product like this that's going to get a lot of hype, I think upgrading the steel a little bit would have been a nice touch. But 420 is not terrible if it's heat treated properly. I'm not a huge fan of partially serrated blades, but I can certainly live with it, and I'm sure it'll function just fine. It feels quite sharp, actually, so that's good. And one-handed closing with the lock there. And then on this side is a pair of scissors, and those are a lot smoother than the knife, so probably less break-in time there. My most used tool on any multi-tool is always the scissors. I've mentioned that a number of times in the past, so I like the Leatherman scissors. They work quite well. One-handed closing works just fine. So that is all good. So yeah, it's interesting. I like the design and the architecture. I like the action of it. So that's now happened 3 times, and that's, I think, maybe a problem, is that these tools keep popping out whenever I open the pliers. So, you know, as I'm using the pliers now, you know, if I need to get my hand in here, there's going to potentially be exposed tools, and some are a little bit sharp, so I don't like that. I'm not sure why it's doing that. My guess is that the magnet that holds those tools in place is simply not strong enough, and they're flying out every time I open it. So that's not cool. Do not like that. Otherwise, it seems like a decent tool, although as I'm holding it in my hand right now, I'm feeling something with my right index finger that's not comfortable at all. So you may be able to see a little divot in my finger, but what is that? Okay, so another negative here is going to be that the way the handle scale is shaped here at the end, there's like this hook shape, and that is really, really sharp. Like really, really sharp. And is it on both sides? Yeah, so that's on both sides. So they just milled the shape of the scale that way for whatever reason, but that is incredibly sharp. I mean, that would definitely catch on something and tear your skin open pretty good. So not liking that one bit. That's kind of frustrating, disappointing actually. So a pretty sharp edge here, which I do not like, and those tools keep flying out every time I open it, which I also do not like at all. So it seems like it's getting worse. So I don't know, guys, and Jesus Christ. Okay, pardon my language here, but as I opened it just then, I was feeling something with my finger, and it's another sharp. Is that the same thing as I was looking at earlier? No. Okay, so the sort of hook shape area that was really sharp that I pointed out earlier is actually where part of the plier kind of seats into. So when it's in its closed position, that's that sharp edge there, and then it seats in like that. But in its open position, when you're using the pliers, I just felt this protrusion here, and it's on both sides again, and it's just a little tab of metal there. So it looks like this piece here, this little tab that's kind of sticking through there, might be the magnet itself, because that's where the tools actually seat, is against that tab there. So as you drop the tools in, they seat themselves, but the way this is designed and cut, it's just this tab that sticks out. You can clearly see that it sits proud of the handle scale, and that is probably the sharpest of any of the sharp things that I've touched so far. That would definitely tear up your hand if you got it in just the right way. And that's on both sides. So I don't know if there's any reason why that needs to be that way. I'm sure you could file it down, but that is not cool. That's very, very sharp, and in my opinion, a very poor attention to detail kind of on the final finish. With a tool that costs $120, I've now found two very, very sharp kind of hot spots, and these tools keep kind of flying out when I open it. So I'm less enthusiastic about this now than I was when I first opened the box, that's for sure. Also, whenever I kind of roll the tools open this way, I found another hot spot, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I think the best way to utilize this tool in terms of accessing your implements is to hold it in this fashion and push up with your thumb to get them started, and then pick what you want, open it, use it. When you're done, you know, close it and be done with it. But if you try to roll it open the way I've seen it done on some other videos by kind of holding it like this and just doing that, it's super uncomfortable. And the reason I'm noticing, and I don't have anything like a pointer, but these tools all kind of move freely almost as one unit. But there's a stationary piece right here shaped like a hook. And what that is, I think, is this the, okay, so it's a scissors. So if you can see this little hook shape piece right there, as I open and close the scissors, that should move. Okay, so you see how that little hook shape is moving back and forth? So that is staying stationary when you open these tools, and I'm gonna use my fingernail just to prove a point. So when you're opening these, that little hook there stays stationary. So when, I'm gonna use this hand because his thumb's already a little torn up. So when you roll it open like this, the tools come out, but you're rubbing your thumb across this. It's not, I mean, it's rounded, but it's very not comfortable to operate that way. So I think for comfort's sake, the best way to access your tools is to push up gently, then pick your tool and engage it that way. So not thrilled about that because that's just not comfortable. So a lot of what the hell? I mean, Leatherman, seriously, 120 bucks, brand new, been talking about this for months, and now I have found, let's see, what have I found? One hot spot there, a second one with these kind of hook-shaped pieces on the handle scales, and then the other one, was it on the inside? Yeah, these little protrusions here. So 3 areas that are just frankly uncomfortable and sharp. So that's not good. I'm not liking that at all. And then I guess the fourth thing, other than the 3 hot spots, would be the fact that those tools keep popping out every time I open it. And this is a magnetic architecture, and that magnet simply seems like it's not strong enough. So that's very disappointing and frustrating. So I don't know, guys. I was very enthusiastic about this, hoping it would be not necessarily a game changer. I didn't think it would be a total gimmick, but I definitely thought it would be a good quality tool. And I mean, the quality feels good. I mean, it feels solid, like a Leatherman would. I like that it's pretty streamlined and there's not a whole lot going on the outside. But those 3 hot spots and the fact that those tools keep popping out, honestly, is kind of pissing me off a little bit, because I feel like it almost feels like an unfinished design. Like this was like the last prototype before they should have done a final revision to get rid of these sharp edges, or at least round them, and get rid of, if I can find them again, these little protrusions here. Find a way to not need that to be there for whatever reason it's there, and maybe put a slightly stronger magnet. Because again, if you open it with any authority, the tools are going to start to come out. So that's a bummer. And I don't know, that's when you combine all those things and the price point, at this point I would say I would not recommend this tool. And the reason for that is you can get a wave, you know, for 100 bucks, or a surge, you know, maybe for a little more than that. And so I think if you have a full-size Leatherman multi-tool that you really love, that works for you, that has the implements that you like and that you use, I would stick with it at this point. And to be honest with you, this may end up getting returned to Leatherman. And I wouldn't be shocked. And let me know in the comments. I have not watched any other videos about these tools on YouTube, other than the ones that Blade HQ and Leatherman have put out. So I'm not sure if kind of like what the consensus is or what people are saying about this, but I'm sure, and I'm going to look it up as soon as I'm done filming this, but I'm sure I'm not the first person who's noticed those hot spots and those hooks and those, there's another one right there, Jesus. This thing is just, it's sharp. What the heck? I don't like that. So for 120 bucks, I feel like the fit and finish and kind of final evaluation, it's like they missed a step. And that's disappointing for a $120 multi-tool that's been very highly anticipated and touted as kind of the latest and greatest future technology of multi-tools. So my first impression when I took it out of the box was very good. It felt good, although a little heavy. Great pocket clip, nice kind of streamlined design. The flipping action was fantastic, right out of the box, easy to open one-handed. Man, I'm a little frustrated because I really was liking pretty much everything about this until I started noticing some of those flaws. So it is what it is. That's the risk you take, I guess. One thing I didn't mention, maybe to end on a good note, is that those the blade on the wire cutter is removable and replaceable if you ever need to, as a lot of Leathermans are. But I'm going to give this a C or a C minus, just for the, in my opinion, almost just grossly negligent nature in which they left this. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting. I'll be interested to see what other people think or what other people are saying, but it just feels sharp everywhere, and that's not cool. So let me do a quick size comparison, and then we'll close this thing out, because I don't want this video to be too depressing. So here's a Wingman. It's kind of a smaller, full-size multi-tool, and it looks like we're probably 3/4 of an inch longer on the Free, and about the same thickness, almost exactly. The Free has a pocket clip that protrudes further. So we compare the two pocket clips, you can see it clearly sticks out further, but I think it would actually carry a lot better. But again, with that weight, I may actually try it in the sheath. Let's go ahead and stick it in there, see how that fits. Fits well, nice compact package. So that's the Leatherman Free. I like the concept. I love the idea and the engineering and the innovation that went into this. The execution, however, I think leaves a lot to be desired. And for that reason, I would not recommend this, and it may get returned. I can think of a lot of other things I'd like to spend $120 on, and I may just do that. I may give it like a week and carry it and kind of give it a shot, but I think there's a good chance it's going to go back to Leatherman. And I wouldn't be shocked to see the next iteration of this look a little different. Either that, or I'm crazy and I'm the only person that's noticed these things. But I can't imagine I'm the only person who's noticed those things. So that's the Leatherman Free Model P2. Underwhelmed. Definitely underwhelmed. But again, like I said, that's a risk you take. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this. Whether, hopefully I didn't totally just, dishearten you from buying it. But frankly, I mean, if I'm being honest, which I always try to be, I would not recommend this. For 120 bucks, save your money and buy something else. So that's my initial thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.